in here, talk a little bit about that battle at right guard and between you and him, and also Tobias. I mean, just your take on that. Let's go so far with that.
Oh, it's great. You know, in camp, it's everybody's trying to fight for a spot. But I mean, you know, there's some spots, you know, 3-year guys, veterans, you know, it's kind of settled. We got spots right now on the right side. I'd say everybody says we're inexperienced, but yet I say we're as a group, as we keep working with each other, it helps, because if somebody does, you know, knock on wood, you don't want anybody to get hurt, but if somebody does go down, you have that experience with, because we've been rotating in and out as a group, and you know, me and Charles or me and Damien or Malone or Tobias and all them just switching up just helps us talk, helps us get to know each other better and make calls. So I think switching in and out actually helps us in camp and the battle. If you got competition, somebody pushing you, that's always going to make you work harder. That's just common sense there, you know. So I think it's great. So far, I think chemistry's good. We're talking. I think as a group, we've met our expectations so far, and maybe even made some hurdles over the ones that say we have no experience.
How different is that scene compared to last year when there weren't as many options or much experience?
You know, it's a lot more pressure on you because you have to step up. As a redshirt freshman last year, I was kind of in the background a little bit. I mean, I knew if something did happen, I was going to go in, but right now I'm way more confident as a player. I know I don't even have to think on plays now. It's just it's just, you know, steps and everything, and more technique than anything. And just this year, I know I'm gonna have to play. I know I'm gonna have to step up and be a leader, because the offensive line is where it starts, you know. So I know as a sophomore this year, and I got my roommate's Dylan Day. I mean, that's great. Me and him are with each other every day of the week, all year. Me and him, we don't even have to say anything to each other. We just know what's going on. So all the chemistry right now is great.
When you're working behind a guy like Tobias, who's got a lot of experience and wins games SEC, and then you got a guy like a Malone behind you, came in with all that recruiting, and here you are, and like Coach admits, it was a numbers thing that maybe you didn't get signed by some people, but is there a sense of pride? You know, you have proved yourself in that group?
Coming in, I mean, I always looked at myself as like, I'm an athlete. I mean, I'm not trying to be cocky or anything. I'm an athletic guy. I played every snap, and I played a little high school. Didn't play very good competition. Played every snap of the ball. But Tobias is one of the best linemen I've ever been around. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell y'all that he's a big key to what we are. You know, he's a great player, and to be behind him, hopefully one day I'll be where he is. You know, in his shoes. I'm trying to work towards that. And Malone, he's a great player too. He's a big guy. We're both just working. We're young guys right now trying to, you know, come in and make a difference. And so far, I think we're doing pretty good at it. Me and Malone and Tobias sitting there kind of being a coach right now. I think it's great. So far, Tobias, you know, he'll give us tips, you know, like, hey, man, you know, you're letting this foot and this foot, you know, stuff like that. But being behind a guy like that, or playing with a guy, rotating with a guy like that's going to be great for the team, I think. It's going to help give him some rest if he ever does need some, or you know, vice versa with anybody else, because we can all rotate in and out, left, center. I can play left, center, and right. You know?
You ever accused Tobias of, you know, goofing off a little? Come on, guys, time to get back to work.
Oh yeah, Tobias is he knows when he can play and when he's supposed to be serious, and he's really good at that. He's really good at, like, he'll see you come in the morning at 5:30. He's like, man, you know, it's seventh day here, and you're like, man, come on, let's go, guy. You know,
it's easy for him to say.
Yeah, for him, you know, but he's been through the ropes. He's been through all the camps. He knows when some people are down, you got to get them up. And days when other people are down, like some days Dylan or Gabe or anybody else, you know, I'll be like, come on, you know, I'll crack a joke with him, try to get him going. But so far, I mean, we've had a great camp so far. I don't have any complaints.
You know, Damien Robinson's a guy that's highly recruited. How's he coming along? Is that a guy you can see, you know, be starting right here?
Damien, his big deal right now is just he gets down on himself sometimes, but I think when he's confident in what he's doing, he's a great player. Sometimes he overthinks things, and you'll see on film, when he doesn't think about anything, he just sets and does what he's supposed to do, or runs the play he's supposed to do. He's a great player. But he's going to play a good role this year. His feet are getting so much better. When he came in at first, he was kind of behind on everything. He's a huge guy. I mean, he wears like a size 22 or something, bigger than my rims on my truck, you know. So I mean, the guy's he's improved so much. There's not even any words I can say, because he's like from night and day. From when we first came in our first June to now, he's changed so much, and he's becoming a good player.
Playing the position is just so much about just clearing your mind and
Yeah, it is.
knowing what to do and having the instinct. And I mean, is that what's just been kind of what's held him back a little bit?
I can say from experience, when I came in as a freshman, everything was just, wow, like look at all this moving around. In high school, everybody just ran up the field.
Yeah.
Now you see linebackers running, you see blitzes, as a freshman, I was just like, the ball was snapping, I'd still be like looking around, and then you pop up, and now it's just, I know what's going on. As a guy scoots over here, somebody's coming to me, like we're taught, something goes away, something's coming back to you, so you just pop out of your stance. You don't even have, as a freshman, you run around like chasing people. Whereas in high school, you're like, just block this man, that's all I need you to do, And now it's your zones and all that stuff. So I'd say from freshman year to now, it's just all about patience, not rushing yourself. Just getting out of your stance and seeing everything. Everything's not a blur now. You know the plays, just set, and it's so much better now. And as a freshman, that's the biggest part as a freshman. That's why it's hard to play as a true freshman, because the speed is so much different. I can't even explain what it's, like I said, night and day from speed in high school to now. It's just crazy.
You and Dylan aren't little guys by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh no, but we got. Yeah,
but when you look at Damien and Justin and all those guys, you think, I never saw this in high school.
Oh yeah, it's me and him. We're really close. Like I said, we live together, and we're always kind of picked on like, hey, y'all the smaller guys, I mean, when it comes down to it, we're pretty. We put us in our average crowd. We're way, we're a big guy, 6'4". But when you look around, we're just like, man, how do we end up here? How does this happen? How do people get this big? But I mean, everybody has their own traits and everything. Like Dylan's a quick guy, I'm a quick guy. Some of the bigger guys have longer arms. Everybody has their attributes, but it all works out.
What's your strengths?
I'd say my feet. I actually have to slow them down sometimes because Kelsey's like, man, you got to quit. You look like you're on twinkle toes out there. You got to slow your feet down. And he said, that's one of my attributes, and I work real hard. That's how I got to where I am. I was always, I was a walk-on coming in. Everybody's like, man, I had to prove myself, I knew that coming in. I was going to have to prove myself that I could play at this level, and so far it's worked out. And I love Coach Blaze. He's got the most respect for him. He's the one that's pushed me with. Him and Coach Hepsey have pushed me to where I'm at right now.
Your first thought of seeing Nick James across from you in practice?
Man, Nick James. Well, when he wants to go, there's not a person that can stop him. He's a freak. He's 360 pounds and can run off like a 4.9, I think. The thing he's got to learn is not to be that. He's a kind of a one-play guy, and he's done right now because he's young. But once he gets that conditioning in him and he can come off the ball a series, that guy's. I don't want to try to block him. I don't want to be the guy having to stand across from him.
I'm sure you thought you'd seen big when you see Autry. Not Autry, but Quay Evans back in spring. He's big. Then they bring James in.
Oh, it's like I said. Until you put your hand down on the ground and look at this guy that's just proud down on a 4-point stance. I mean, he's. I think he's 17. He looks like he's 40. I mean, I'm looking at him like, God, if this guy ever learns, he's gonna learn eventually. He's a freshman, but if this guy ever learns everything that he can really achieve, because that guy, you'll see him on some plays, he'll be down, and he'll see the quarterback, and his eyes will light up, and he'll just take off and start catching him. I'm like, God Almighty, how's a guy that big run that fast? But he's got all the potential in the world. His bar is so high right now. If he ever reaches it, his potential's out the roof.
What's the biggest body you've ever faced at Benton Academy, or played with or against?
Let's see. Biggest body I played. I don't know if y'all remember Chaz Ramsey. Yeah. He played at Canton Academy before he transferred, and that's the biggest guy I ever faced. And when he was at Canton, he played both ways, so we both blocked each other. But I'm pretty good friends with him now. He's lost like 100 pounds, and he's coaching at Madison Central now. And but that's probably the biggest guy I've ever faced.
How big was he then?
I think he's 6'6", 285, 290. Big, just a huge guy, freaking nature, just built to know.
And now he just look average in the bunch you're playing.
Oh yeah, he's 210 now. I saw him right before we started summer workouts. He's lost like 100 pounds.
Have you gained weight since you got here?
I've gained about 20 pounds. Came in at 285. I'm about 305 now.